Carrie Farber was originally a customer at my shop. She was very pretty, very confident, and she was super smart. That's why she was attracted to me. I don't know, I'm a pretty mundane blue-collar guy, but we were on the same page. We were both just looking to go out and have a good time. That morning, when I left the house at about 6:30 a.m., she was on the couch with her laptop and phone. I said, "See you later, have a nice day, goodbye." Later that morning, I'm at work, and I get a text from Carrie that says, "Can we move in together?" Now, that was extremely left field because after dating for 2 weeks, Carrie made it very clear to me that if we have a relationship, it's nothing serious. So I just texted back, "That's not gonna happen." And immediately I'm getting these texts, "Fine, I hate you, go away, you've ruined my life," just on and on and on. It was like, what the hell? But then you start thinking, well, I guess I've only known her for 2 weeks. If it's gonna be like this, okay, I dodged a bullet, and it was easy for me to walk away and be done.
Carrie was a spitfire. She was a free spirit. She could be a handful. She could be strong-willed, but I've never known her to be a loose cannon.
Carrie lives just a few minutes away from her mom, and the two typically talk every day. Though, that changes when Carrie and Dave break up.
All of a sudden, Nancy was getting these strange texts from Carrie. It just didn't sound like Carrie at all. So Nancy texted back, "You need to call. I need to hear your voice." But Carrie would not pick up the phone.
For 3 days, Nancy waits to hear from her daughter. Carrie never calls. Her mother knows something's wrong. She turns to the Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Office for help and asks them to find her missing daughter. When Carrie fails to show for family functions, including her son's 15th birthday, the alarm bells ring even louder.
There is no force on earth that would cause her to miss an event like that. Not for Max.
Also, Carrie's father died, and she didn't attend the funeral. No one had heard her voice or seen her since mid-November 2012. But it was also really confusing because there was plenty of evidence online that Carrie seemed to be fine.
While Carrie's out of sight, she's never out of mind for Dave. He receives texts day and night.
The messages and emails were just all over the place. Anywhere from, "I hate you," to, "Oh, I love you so much, we should have babies," and it would go on and on.
The same week that Carrie disappears, Dave's former girlfriend, Liz Goyer, just happens to reach out to him.
I met Liz via online dating. We were on and off. She had 2 children who coincidentally were very close to the age of my son and daughter. She was sexy. She laughed a lot. She was a lot of fun. And I didn't get a lot of drama from her.
That's not to say that there's no drama when Dave and Liz rekindle their romance.
Liz and I would be hanging out, and we'd both start getting threatening messages from Carrie at the same time. Messages like, "Dave's mine," "I love Dave," "I hate you." It was almost surreal. It was weird, too, because they had never really met.
Back when Dave first started dating Carrie, she and Liz briefly crossed paths.
Her and Liz probably saw each other for 5 seconds or so outside my apartment. No words were exchanged.
The harassment goes well beyond nasty texts.
Somebody had written on the wall of her garage, "Whore from Dave."
Liz calls me, blaming me. "I can't believe you brought Carrie Farber into my life." And of course, I feel bad because now she's a target and she's afraid for her children.
Liz reported the harassment to the Omaha police. So the police there were trying to find Carrie Farver. And in Iowa, Carrie was still a missing person.
Interesting thing about this case, there's basically two different investigations going on.
Sergeant Jim Doty and Deputy Ryan Avis aren't involved in the original investigation. They won't join the case until later.
In Iowa, the sheriff's office was trying to locate Carrie because her mother had reported her missing.
And on the Omaha side, they're looking for Carrie as the suspect of these harassment reports, stalking reports, vandalism reports.
Even with police looking for Carrie, Dave continues to receive one ominous message after another.
Some days 70 emails and text messages just uncountable.
Some of these text messages were describing what Dave is doing, what he's wearing, at that very moment.
He got a text, "I see you in the chair with your feet propped up. You're wearing your blue t-shirt."
Oh, I saw you take your trash out 40 seconds after I took the trash out.
It just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up immediately.
A few days after a heavy snowfall, and 2 months after Carrie vanishes, Dave does find something.
I'm driving around the apartment complex, and I notice there's one truck that is not cleaned off. It's still got a foot of snow on it. I start looking a little closer, and I see it looks kind of similar to Carrie's. So I called the sheriff.
And they ran the license plate. It was Carrie's vehicle. The vehicle was taken into a police impound to be processed. There was a mint tin in the center cup holder in the front seat, and with our crime scene tech, she was able to lift a fingerprint off of the mint tin. The print was run through the national database, and unfortunately, we didn't get any hits.
Liz calls me and says, my house is on fire. Now, I don't know what to think. What do you mean your house is on fire? So I went over, and sure enough, there's 2 big fire trucks in the street.
Luckily, Liz nor her children were in the house at the time. When Liz speaks to the fire department investigator about the case, she tells them that, "I know who did this."
It's Carrie. Her last name's Farver. She kept texting me and telling me she wanted to kill me and my kids.
In fact, Liz showed the fire investigators an email that said, "I hope you die in the fire."
But law enforcement's having a hard time doing anything about it because they can't find Carrie.
Dave and Liz continue to receive harassing messages for the next year and a half. No one, including the police, knows where Carrie is.
We found not one person had heard her voice, not one person had actually seen her.
She hadn't got employment anywhere else. Her checking account hadn't been used.
You start to wonder, like, how could someone survive without any financial means? There was literally no sign that showed Carrie was still alive.
So at that point, we started working on the premise that she was deceased and that somebody had been posing as Carrie this whole time.
To find out if there's an imposter, detectives have to follow a long and winding digital road.
So I started going through all the original case reports, and I noticed that Liz Golyer's name keeps popping up. We're seeing all these harassment complaints that Liz Golyer's making, and Carrie's the suspect. The original investigators got phone downloads from Dave Krupa and Liz Golyer back in early 2013. I found a couple things on that download that were really interesting. There was several phone calls made from Liz's phone to Carrie's home phone about a week before Carrie went missing. They used the *67 prefix, so it disguises your number when you're calling. Liz had in the past said that she didn't really know Carrie, so it was odd to us that she would have been calling Carrie. Also on Liz's phone download was a picture of Carrie Farver's vehicle. I was able to look at the metadata of that photo and found that it was taken weeks before law enforcement or Dave even knew where that vehicle was. Getting all this evidence, the case takes a big turn for us. Now, we believe that Liz might be involved with whatever happened to Carrie. So we had those fingerprints that we recovered in the vehicle back in 2013 compared to the known fingerprints of Liz. and we got a match. It felt like we made a huge break in the case. But at the same time, with this new discovery, we believed that Carrie was no longer with us and that something bad had happened to her.
Liz offers her phone to us on consent so that we can dump it and try to get the evidence of this harassment. And that turns out to be a huge deal for us. As we're looking into all these emails and texts and everything else, we are finding that Liz is sending messages under the name Carrie Farver. She's the one who's doing these impersonations.
Liz had been posing as Carrie this whole time, and I believe that she had killed Carrie at that point, but I couldn't prove it. We need evidence, and we need details of what happened to Carrie if we're ever going to charge Liz.
Unless Liz confesses, investigators don't have enough for an arrest. At least not yet. That changes 5 weeks later, when detectives get the lab results from Carrie's SUV.
It's Carrie's blood that was in her vehicle. This is what we needed to charge Liz for the homicide of Carrie Farver.
4 years after Carrie Farver vanished into thin air, police arrest Liz Goyer and charge her with first-degree murder.
Learning the truth, it was hard to swallow. I mean, it's still, the whole thing is just hard to believe, hard to deal with. It's a mess to wrap your head around.
4.5 years after Carrie Farver's disappearance, Liz Goyer's murder trial begins.
The issue was there murder? Did she murder this girl? My argument was death by supposition, homicide by innuendo. And that's all it was. It was a theory, and you can't convict on a theory.
The prosecutors claim Liz was obsessed with Dave. They say that obsession, fueled by jealousy, became her motive for murder. Just weeks before the trial began, Dave Krupa found an old electronic tablet in his storage unit.
The tablet belonged to Dave Krupa, but the device had been used by Liz when they were together.
It had this memory card inserted in it. It looked empty. However, with computers and everything digital, it's hard to delete anything permanently. It usually is recoverable. And it turns out there were thousands and thousands of deleted files still on that memory card, including photos that we knew came from Liz's cell phone back in 2012 and 2013, at the time Carrie went missing. So I'm scrolling through, and there's one that stands out because I couldn't tell exactly what it was at first, but as I blew it up and you could see more detail on it, it became clear this is that missing piece of evidence that we needed. This is the smoking gun in this case.
It was a picture of what appeared to be a foot with a tattoo on it.
This isn't just a foot. This is a foot that's in the state of decomposition. And it turns out that's the tattoo that Carrie had. What this definitively tells the judge is that, unfortunately, Carrie's dead. But even more, Liz did it, and she took a picture of it.
When they found the photo of the foot, I knew it was going to be a much harder case. It made a huge difference because they had evidence, not the body, but evidence of a body part that helped substantiate the murder.
When she was finally found guilty, that was huge because it's over. It's really over.
Nearly 5 years after she murdered Carrie, Liz Goyer is sentenced to life without parole.